Although we did also speak to her neighbors today who told us something about her just seemed off.
You think? Jesus Christ. You know, she said she was going to go down to the police station and shout it up, but I just, I didn't really, give me a break. Scare the shit out of those cops. I guarantee you, this is a first for these cops. To fire in their own station. They're being attacked. How often does that happen?
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Along with our content genius, Michael Rivers, who's behind the camera. And basically, he's, the man behind the plan. Basically, I'm his puppet. I'm just a vessel through which he works. So today we're reacting to craziness, just craziness. Before we get into craziness, this is brought to you by eSign.com. eSign.com, a very effective way to remotely do business. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you decide to go into a police station and shoot the hell out of it. Guess what? You're going to need to sign over all your assets because you're crazy. So you go to eSign.com, you download the app, you get 3 free signatures a month. Guess what you do? You sign away your power of attorney because you cannot control a thing because you're in custody. I use it all the time. I have people sign like medical releases, when I'm building up a case or retainer agreements. It's a great way to effectively and remotely do business. And I implore you to use the products that support this show. If you like this show, support our advertisers. Anyway, so eSign.com. Effective way to remotely do business. So in Bristol, Connecticut, on Thursday, October 5th at approximately 11:30 p.m., which everybody should be in bed or just about to be in bed. You should have your silk jammies laid out for you. You should have your warm milk has already been drank, and you should be ready for bed. A lone female, later identified as 51-year-old Suzanne LaPrice, entered the lobby of Bristol Police Department at 131 North Main Street. She approached the front lobby desk office window and banged on the window with a handgun. Yes, that's right. She went into the police station and banged down the bulletproof glass with a handgun. Let's just get to the video. Is not terribly long, but it does raise a bunch of issues. First of all, first in the frame when she gets in here, at 1 second in the frame, it looks like she's got the gun pointed at her head. Suicide by cop is a thing, and it's nothing to laugh at. And and somebody with mental health problems is nothing to laugh at. But sometimes in the criminal defense world, we do laugh at things, and because it's some of the stuff we see is so horrific, you can't help but laugh because you just can't even believe it. Okay. Now, you walk into a police station with a gun out. Why would you do that? And you know what? And this is why you have bulletproof glass at a police station. Now, I don't think she's coming to bitch about a parking ticket. I'm just guessing. And thank God thank God it was at a time where there's nobody else in the lobby. I don't think there's any sound with this, which is kind of tragic. She looks to be in her 30s, I would bet. 30s, maybe 40s. So to walk into a police station with your handgun out, that only says one thing: shoot me. Shoot me, I want to die. That's really what that says. It just says, shoot me, I want to die. There's no other reason for somebody to do that. And this is why the police department has bulletproof glass. Oh, there we go. That was the first shot right there. That gun is a semi-automatic handgun. Probably holds anywhere from 8 to 15 rounds, depending upon what kind of gun it is. So that's one shot. Oh, she's getting ready for battle here. She puts the gun down. Oh, she's got her cigarette. Gotta have your cigarette. By the way, you guys, none of you should smoke. Because this is what happens when you smoke. Now, here's the other thing. So there will be cameras. Obviously, there are cameras in there because we're watching this right now, right? But there are also speakers and microphones that are in this lobby area. So somebody from another part of the station can be talking to her. And it looks like she's got the gun kind of to her head. These are really cries for help, honestly. I mean, they're super fucking dangerous, but they're just cries for help. And she puts the gun back to her head. It's sad, really, when you think about it. I mean, what would drive somebody to do that? You know, what would drive somebody to be that desperate that they go down to the police station with a gun and start firing into the bulletproof glass?
There's already guys with it.
There we go.
We got cars going.
Brian, do not move. Do not move, Brian. Are these windows bulletproof?
Shots fired.
So the officers are asking and I think they're probably talking about the doors that she's shooting at right now.
Are these windows bulletproof?
We got 2 cars going off to the front.
So that sounds like them firing back.
That's her right here, right? Laptop, yep. Get down! Get down on the ground!
And tell me the cops' adrenaline isn't at high alert at this point.
Can you see her, Spence? Nope, she just went back. Get down on the ground! Okay, she just went to the right.
I have the gun in her hand right now.
Brian. Okay, go!
It's amazing when you have a situation like that and somebody doesn't die. And I think I've told you this a bunch of times, but I had a client who drew down on some cops, and holy crap. I mean, he went to go buy a gun in the morning and told his daughter, call the cops because your dad's going to die today. And he wanted to die suicide by cop. And he goes to Walmart, half in the bag, buys a rifle, goes back to his house, fires the gun off in his field, and the cops come, they shut down the highway, and he fires at him. And they're kind of in his barn, and 2 shots hit the frame of the barn, and then it jams, and then they tackle him. Holy shit, how does that guy not die?
Everyone good?
Yep.
Good.
Bristol, get a 17.
There's already guys with it. We got cars going.
Brian, do not move. Do not move, Brian. Are these windows bulletproof?
Shots fired.
So he's firing back at her, but it's not doing anything because the windows are bulletproof. You know, she couldn't shoot in, and they can't shoot out.
These windows bulletproof?
We got 2 cars going off to the front.
I guarantee you, this is a first for these cops to fire in their own station. They're being attacked. How often does that happen?
That's her right here, right? Laptop, yep. Get down! Get down on the ground! Can you see her, Spence? Nope, she just went back. Get down on the ground! Okay, she just went to the right.
I have the gun in her hand right now.
Brian. Okay, go!
Clearly a psych problem. Clearly a psych problem. And we'll talk about that on the other side of this real quick.
Everyone good?
Yep, good.
Scare the shit out of those cops. So when you look at the kind of charges that somebody would face under something like this, there's a couple different aspects of something that's going on here. Number one, is she competent to stand trial? So the first thing, any defense lawyer would do is do what they call a Rule 20, or, every state's got their version of a competency examination. Then you also do a Rule 21, which is, even if you're competent to stand trial, were you laboring under a mental health condition that you didn't really know right from wrong at the time? And so she clearly is laboring under some kind of mental health stress. Whether it's enough to say it's a defense is a completely different subject. Now let's see what the news had to say about her court appearance later.
And today we learned that Suzanne LaPrise is a mother of 3. She volunteers at her local church and she works to help the elderly. Although we did also speak to her neighbors today who told us something about her just seemed off.
You think? Jesus Christ. She said she was going to go down to the police station and shout it up, but I just, I didn't really, give me a fucking break. Of course something seemed off. Then why didn't you do something? If you encounter somebody that's in distress like that, do something about it. Don't just sit on the fucking sidelines and wait until they pop a gasket and all of a sudden guess where they wind up. Do something. Try to lend a hand or call the cops. Because sometimes law enforcement involvement saves lives. It really does. Not all the time. I just whipped up a cop today on the stand. And that was pretty fun, actually.
She is the neighbor that always would wave, but wouldn't say anything, but she was kind of creepy.
This is the welcome mat outside the Plainville apartment of 51-year-old Suzanne LaPrise.
So she's the kind of neighbor that would wave, and she's really kind of creepy neighbor. Well, seems to me that the creepy neighbors do creepy shit.
Spraying bullets at officers from her high-capacity magazine.
That's honestly...
So a high-capacity magazine probably means 15 bullets or so.
LaPrise, who was allegedly drunk and high at the time, was arraigned in New Britain Superior Court.
Drunk and high at the time doesn't help you. It's better if she was completely sober and just out of her mind. If you're drunk and high, what happens with that is you wind up being voluntarily intoxicated, and that's not a defense.
Shit business.
Yeah, shit business. Yeah, remember Miss Shit Business, who that was killing and dismembering her boyfriend seemed to be her shit business.
Standing beside her public defender, we learned more about her.
She's a mother of 3 adult children, including her 33-year-old son, who has Down syndrome. She is his main care provider. She feeds him, she dresses him, she gives him his insulin that he needs every day, and she also has experience doing this because, as she indicated to me, she spent 21 years of her life working for the Connecticut Department of Development.
Now, Man Bun here is just really trying to tell you, she's a good woman, and she really, you should let her out on bail. She's not a risk of flight. And she's not really a risk to the community, just to cops in their own station. Give me a fucking break.
Services.
LaPrise was most recently working part-time at an adult day center.
Now let's take a look at Miss LaPrise. Boy, she's got a nice shiner there. How the fuck do you think she got that? And she's got a little, goose egg on her forehead. That probably happened when the cops took her down.
So alarming that the judge required her to post 30% of her $1 million bond in order to get out. She's facing a slew of criminal felony charges.
All right, so let's look at her charges. Criminal attempted murder with special circumstances, i.e. law enforcement. Illegal discharge of a firearm, who cares? Illegal carry of firearms under the influence of drugs and alcohol, who cares? Criminal use of a weapon, who cares? Violation of a pistol requirements, who cares? Illegal possession of large capacity magazine, who cares? Criminal mischief, first degree, well, that could be something. Reckless endangerment, first degree, maybe a little bit of something. Breach of the peace, who cares? So basically, the 2 big ones are the criminal mischief, because the first degree, because that could be a decent one, and the attempted murder with special circumstances. That's probably the most important one. So when you look at what they're trying to do here, they're doing a bail argument, basically. And remember what I said on bail, it's 2 things. It's risk of flight, danger to the public. She may not be at risk of flight because she's got ties to the community, she's employed, she's a mother of 3, she volunteers for the elderly, and she shoots at cops. I mean, so the last one is probably danger to the public. Clearly, she is a danger to the public.
LaPrise told her public defender she probably suffers from mental health issues.
You think? You think she might suffer from some mental... you can't... You can't not... You can't not laugh at some of this because some of it's just so fucking crazy. It's so out there. It's you and I wouldn't do this, would you? No, of course you wouldn't. None of us would do this normally. And so when we see people act like this, it's why do you think this has 3 million views? Because it's you just look at it and you're like, holy crap, I can't believe what's going on.
It actually makes me feel very uncomfortable. Like, she could have done that to our neighborhood, and I wouldn't want that. Like, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't want that in your neighborhood? Of course you wouldn't. You find out your neighbor just shot up a cop station? What the fuck are you going to do? I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? When you're sitting there in your bed and you hear gunshots outside your window, and there's plenty of people who do hear that, you don't feel safe. And when all of a sudden you hear that your neighbor just went to the police station and tried to kill people, or at least, was shooting into a bulletproof glass at cops, you're kind of like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't come back.
LaPrise was placed on a suicide watch while she's behind bars. She's going to be back in court on October 17th.
Sometimes when people are on a suicide watch, you know what they put them in? They're naked underneath. They call it the green turtle suit. And basically it's a Velcroed garment, very thick, that you really can't move around a lot in, and you can't get it off. And so you can't hang yourself or do anything crazy with bed sheets or whatever.
And this incident comes nearly a year after 2 Bristol police officers were killed by a suspect while responding to a domestic disturbance. We're live outside New Britain Superior Court.
Think about that. So 2 officers were killed a year ago in response to a domestic. Domestic calls are probably the most dangerous calls that police officers get because they're heated, people don't listen, a lot of times there are weapons involved, and people don't give a shit. It's like, fuck you, you're gonna leave me, I'm gonna make sure that you never see your kids again. I've seen it happen. They kill everybody else and then they kill themselves. Very, very difficult for cops. So when something like this happens, the cops go, into attack mode and self-preservation mode. I will tell you this, she's not getting out. There's just no way she's getting out. And depending upon what she was high on, she may or may not have any kind of mental health defense. It didn't look to me from the video that she was targeting anybody in particular. So if she's just trying to get attention, that's one thing. If she, and she sets the gun down. So when she sets the gun down, that's when they tackle her. It's too bad the cops had to go through that because guess what? That's the kind of their home, and that's how they see it. And, they work out there, they shower there, they have their, meetings there. It's where they work, but it's also considered kind of like a sanctuary for the cops. And somebody invaded that sanctuary, and now, thank God they had bulletproof glass. It's very difficult to defend somebody like this because 2 things. One, most of the time, they're not that cooperative with you. If you remember Shabusiness, how many fucking lawyers did she have? I think she went through like 7 lawyers or something like that. She went through just a ton of lawyers. But if you have somebody, I've represented people on mental illness cases quite a bit. There was a very prominent lawyer here in town, and I had this client who was threatening to kidnap his daughter and then ransom her off because she thought people were after her. And she was really pretty, and she was not Harvard, but she was, Ivy League educated, and she was on her way to get her master's, or I think her master's in psychology, and the wheels just fell off her cart. I mean, she was adult onset paranoid schizophrenia. Don't think that that's what this is, but you never know. And so mental health is a big, huge part of our criminal justice system. So many times somebody's going through something or has some kind of mental health issue, but it doesn't meet the McNaughton test, the higher standard. It's kind of a high standard to show that you are not guilty by reason of mental illness. Everybody thinks, you just got to claim that you're not guilty because you're crazy. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. if you are experiencing some mental health issues, go get some help. You know, don't wait until it bursts your bubble. You know, I always tell my son, whenever we're dealing with any kind of, you know, emotional stuff, you got to pour the pop bottle out. You know, imagine your emotions are going into a pop bottle, you know, like liquid. And if you keep filling it up, and you don't pour it out once in a while, it's going to burst. And when it bursts, glass goes everywhere, and everybody's going to get cut. And that's what happens with mental illness. If it's not dealt with on a regular basis, it explodes on something like this. You know, it's so funny because what I do on these episodes, I kind of try to come off as funny, you know, because I think some of this stuff is funny from a practitioner's standpoint. But as we get into the episode, I start kind of realizing, you know, we're dealing with people, and I get a little preachy. So if I get a little preachy, it's because I give a shit, and, you know, and I like to make you laugh, but I also like to make you care and inform you as well. So that's just what we're doing here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts with the man we call the content genius, and me, the board-certified criminal defense lawyer. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, and we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?